Man, what's up, my people? What's happening, man? I appreciate y'all tuning in. Look, man, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. I don't care about nothing else. Just make sure you subscribe, man. But look, man, I seen something one of my partners said on Instagram. Basically, he said the middleweights not fighting each other and the lightweights not fighting each other. Now, when you think about it, that's very true. You feel me? You can't deny that, but the thing about it, man, it's not just the middleweights, it's not just the lightweights. It's pretty much everybody in boxing, basically. That's what's happening right now. I mean, hell, look what's happening, man. You got people using every excuse in the book to not fight each other. Oh, I'm the A side. Oh, he's not the A side. I need 70%. He needs 30%. I need this amount of money. You never heard this before. We never heard this before in the past, man. Like, I really didn't hear nobody saying this in the early 2000s or like in the 90s when I started watching boxing. But now this is a common thing. I don't understand what's happening. You see UFC, the best of fighting the best. You got an organization where they control all the fighters so they can make these fights happen. But in boxing, it's just like freelance, So me and my promoter, we can negotiate this, we can say we want this. If there's not a mandatory involved or like, it's just too many ways to get out of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty stupid when you think about it. So everybody is ducking everybody now. The fights that the fans want to see are not happening. They're just not happening. There's too many good fights, too many good potential fights that aren't even on the horizon right now. We had Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. That was a big fight that everybody wanted to actually happen. We had Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury twice. Another big fight that happened. But I mean, just look at the heavyweight division. There's no reason that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder should not have fought 3 years ago. There's no reason that fight shouldn't happen. So these guys are professional boxers. That's what they do for a living. They fight for a living, they're paid for a living. They're doing everything in their means to get out of fighting certain people, which doesn't make sense. I mean, you remember back in the day, man, come on now. I know you remember when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Roberto Duran, right? Then he fought Roberto Duran again. Then he fought Thomas Hearns, and then he fought Marvin Hagler, and then he fought Thomas Hearns again, and then Roberto Duran again, and then after the two fights with Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran went on to fight Marvin Hagler, and then he fought Thomas Hearns, and he fought Hector Camacho, and Marvin Hagler fought Roberto Duran, and he fought Thomas Hearns, and he fought Ray Leonard, and everybody was fighting everybody, and everybody was just fighting. And you didn't see all this ducking going on. You didn't hear guys back then complaining about money. I mean, they might not even been making what the fighters are making today, but whatever they were making, you didn't see them saying, I'm not fighting you unless you get 30%, I get 70, or we're not gonna make this fight happen unless I get 60 and you get 40, or they was just fighting. I mean, point blank, they was just fighting each other, man. And it wasn't just then. I mean, look in the 2000s and the early 2000s and the 90s in my generation, right? After I started watching boxing. You had Shane Mosley, for example. Shane Mosley fought Vernon Forrest twice. He fought Oscar De La Hoya twice. He fought Winky Wright twice. He fought Miguel Cotto. He fought Fernando Vargas. He fought Pacquiao. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He fought Ricardo Mayorga, Miguel Cotto. You know what I'm saying? Fernando Vargas fought Oscar De La Hoya. Fernando Vargas fought Felix Trinidad. He fought Winky Wright. He fought Shane Mosley. He fought Ricardo Mayorga. Winky Wright fought Fernando Vargas and Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins and Shane Mosley, and just everybody was fighting everybody. There wasn't no excuses. I don't know why that's not happening now. I don't know why it's so hard. I mean, you look at every weight class, you can see it happening, man. You got Canelo, who's willing to fight Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders, but he don't want to fight Charlo. I don't even think Charlo can beat Canelo, but he don't want to fight him. He don't want to risk fighting Charlo for some reason. He'll move all the way up to 75 and fight old Kovalev and Rocky Fielding and whoever this last dude was. There was supposedly his mandatory. I don't know who that guy was. WBC said that was not his mandatory, but he requested to fight that guy. Whatever. His mandatory or not. He won't fight Charlo. Charlo was his mandatory, didn't fight him. They gave him a franchise belt, let him move up so he wouldn't have to. And then you got Charlo, who's calling out Canelo, but Charlo don't want to fight Benavidez. And then Charlo don't want to fight Andre. And then Charlo said he'll move up to 68 to fight Canelo, but he don't want to move up to fight Benavidez. And now he said that he don't want to fight Andre because they only offered him $7 million. Like, $7 million is not a lot of money. This fool ain't never made $7 million in a fight yet. He has yet to make that kind of money. But now all of a sudden it's not enough money. It's just excuses on top of excuses. There's no reason why Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence should not have fought already. And then you got people saying like, oh, well, they trying to like wait until the right moment. They trying to let it marinate and let it simmer until the money gets bigger. That's dumb. That's a stupid way of looking at it, because if they continue to prolong it and put it off, eventually one of them might lose, or one of them could lose multiple times, or one of them could move up in weight, or there's just too many different variables that could happen, which could cause the fight to never happen. Remember the 90s when Riddick Bowe ducked Lennox Lewis? People still give him flack for that to this day. You still hear it all the time. Everybody wants to see those two fight. For whatever reason, Riddick Bowe, he ducked him, all right? So the fight never happened. Now, that's all you see happening. That's all you see happening, all right? I don't care what nobody says. To me, I think Anthony Joshua ducked Deontay Wilder. I already said that in a previous video. Look what happened. The fight didn't happen. They were both in their prime. They're still in their prime. Deontay Wilder's getting a little bit older, but they were right in their prime. They were both undefeated. The fight didn't happen. What happens? Anthony Joshua goes on and loses, right? He loses to Andy Ruiz. Deontay Wilder keeps on winning. So now he kind of falls down a little bit in line to get with Wilder. So then Wilder has to go on and fight Fury. AJ goes back, avenges his loss. Then Wilder has a draw and Wilder ends up losing. And now if Wilder loses again, he's gonna be further down in line to fight whoever wins between AJ and Fury. You see what I'm saying? So the thing with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford makes no sense, because if you keep on waiting, one of them could lose, and that could just mess up the potential of the fight happening. One of them could lose twice. Errol might, you never know what could happen, man. Tomorrow's not even promised, so these fights should happen now. The whole waiting until a fight builds up, to me, that's retarded. That don't make no sense. The fans need to get the fights that they want. They're the ones paying for the pay-per-views. They're the ones paying for the ticket sales at the arenas. They're the ones tuning in, supporting these fighters. The fights that people want, those are the fights that should be happening. We shouldn't have to wait, oh, maybe it'll happen 5 years from now once the fight builds up. Well, nobody's gonna wanna see it by then, because so many other things are probably gonna happen between now and then in the fight world. And don't even get me started on the little guys, the lightweights, the guys at 130 and 135. It's just too much talent down there for these guys to not be fighting each other. Thank God we got Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, but you still got Shakur Stevenson and you got Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. You got all these different dudes, all these potential fights that could happen that are not happening. They probably not gonna happen. More likely, these fights won't happen. If they do happen, they'll happen on down the line. It's just ridiculous, man. It's sad. I never thought I would see the day where boxers would use money as an excuse, just where boxers would get out of fighting each other, right? And I kind of feel like Floyd Mayweather has a lot to do with that. And Floyd didn't duck nobody. Floyd fought everybody. Pretty boy Floyd was a monster, right? He fought DeMarcus Corley, and he got in the ring with Zab Judah and Ricky Haddon. When Ricky Haddon was undefeated, I think Zab Judah only had like one loss when they fought. He fought Castillo. He got in the ring with Diego Corrales, who was undefeated, and put him down like 5 times. He got in the ring with Oscar De La Hoya and Miguel Cotto. He fought everybody, right? But he put so much of an emphasis on being undefeated to where now everybody wants to emulate. Everybody's afraid to lose they old. You had Keith Thurman, who used to say, I'm not afraid to let my old go. I'm not afraid to lose my old. I'll fight anybody. And then he started ducking people. This fool don't even fight no more. He's inactive. We don't even know where he's at. He ran from Errol Spence He had Spence calling him out so long, he just retired from boxing. Nah, I'm just playing. He didn't retire. But yeah, I don't know where he's at. It's just crazy, man. The whole boxing world is thrown off. It's sad, man. Now you got Jerron Ennis. Everybody finna duck this man. Watch what I tell you. He finna be the new Errol Spence. Remember when Spence came out, he was calling out everybody. Nobody wanted to fight him. Kind of like when Keith Thurman was coming up in the ranks. Keith Thurman kept calling out Floyd Mayweather. He kept calling out Floyd. Floyd was like, man, you ain't big enough to fight me. You ain't fought nobody. You ain't got no name. I don't gotta fight you. And then once Keith Thurman got belts and stuff, then Errol Spence started calling him out, and then he didn't want to fight Spence. Then he's inactive, and now, man, it's just I'm tired of rambling. This video's too long, man. Whatever you do, make sure you subscribe. That's all I'm asking, bro. Just hit the subscribe button or share the video. I ain't tripping. I don't care. It don't even matter, man. Just make sure you subscribe. Whatever else you do, I ain't tripping. But you know, you can comment too, though. Appreciate you. More content coming.